Aaron, what do you recall from your first trip to Cincinnati when that guy stole the ball from Brett?
It wasn't that long ago.
Sorry.
A long day.
I remember that that exact play. I was down probably on the minus 35 or 40-ish. We were, on the plus, I don't know, felt like we were almost the red zone-ish maybe. And it was so loud, and I saw the guy run past me. I can't remember who was standing next to me. I was like, hey, look at that. And when he got the ball, man, the part of you that's a fan was rooting for him to make it. He got kind of smoked, as I remember, but I did see a replay of that grainy footage. Tough day for the offense that day. I remember that. It was a tough one. I believe that the Bengals picked off the NFC North that year, like at least 3 of the quarterbacks threw 5 picks, I believe, as I remember. But that was a rough day for the offense. Good day for that guy. For a second.
He took out 2 security guards before they took him out.
Yeah. They're not used to tackling.
Since we're going on memory lane, what do you remember about the 2017 game? Obviously, an odd game with the super rare pick 6, and then Geronimo comes back and kind of just wondering for you guys.
Yeah, we had a good 2-minute drive. I remember to tie that thing up and get it to overtime, and then I believe we got Michael Johnson offsides at GMO for a big one to put that one away. Yeah, I've always had some tough games. The 13 game over there, that was a back and forth. I believe we were down 14-0, then went ahead 30-14, I think, and then lost it 34-30. Jonathan Franklin had a big game that day, I remember. And then we had some sort of fumble, I think, on a 4th and 1 or 3rd and 1 that they ran back for a score. So, yeah, that was a rough day. And the day that I think that was David Bakhtiari's last cut block. We had a 4th down, 4th and 4, I believe, and I was throwing something to the left to JJ, and he tried to cut one of those big ends they had. It was either Dunlap or Johnson, and it wasn't a great cut. Dave's never been a great cut blocker, and I think after that, that was about the last cut that he's put on film.
And one more memory lane, if you don't mind. What do you remember about Steno when he was here as a player? I think it was the end of 05, early 06, or maybe been 1 year later after that. And what is it like to have a guy who's a coach here that was essentially a practice squad player 15 years ago?
Yeah, it's funny. I remember, that second group I was always tight with those guys because we battled together, especially every time we played Tennessee because they would play their starters in that 4th preseason game, and it was going to be a long night for that second group because Brett and the ones would play like a series, and then they'd still have all their studs out there. And the first time we played them, there was some fights, and Brad Bedell, who was great to me from day one, I think got into some pushing match with Albert Hainsworth, and we're all just really, really close. Young players, Chris White and Junius Costin and Will Whitaker, and Steno was a part of that group. We just always wanted to do well in the preseason and play good together. So there was always a closeness between those backups and myself. It's great having a young coaching staff like this, being an older player. You're so close in age to those guys. You just a lot in common. Grew up in the same era, played in the same era. Steno was a great coach. I didn't know a lot about him when he first got here, but he's got the perfect blend of a great grasp of the offense and a great understanding of how to motivate guys and let them be pros, holding them accountable but allowing for the latitude that needs to be allowed for in an offensive line room, the most interesting room in the building for sure. And we've had some characters over the years. You guys know Josh Sitton and TJ Lang and Chad Clifton and Tausch, and on down to the Balagas and Corey Lindsley's and now Bakhtiari's of the world. You have to allow for some latitude, those guys, to bring the humor and the levity to situations that that needed, and Steno does a great job with that. Butkus as well. You know, he's been around a lot of football, and I think he's a fantastic addition to that room. They give him a lot of responsibility during the week, the presentations and stuff, and I think he does a fantastic job too. So you look at the O-line room, that's how you want it to look with those two guys.
Aaron, Zach Taylor said the other day, when he's teaching situational football to younger quarterbacks, for the last 10 years, he's been going to your tape, especially when he's talking about substitutions. You know, to know that just continues to grow around the league, is it tougher and tougher for you to find those free plays, knowing these coaches are focused on that?
Yeah, it's good though. You know, when I can just have a glance over and they can, you know, holding guys back, it's a good thing. Just the more that they have to think about, I think is good. The cadence has always been a weapon for us, and it's, you know, maybe because we've drawn a lot of guys off sides and had big plays, it's kind of overshadowed the real advantage that it gives us is that those guys just can't get off on the snap count every single time. So the way that we mix it up and the different types of cadence that we use at home and on the road, actually, I think gives us a level playing field on the road a little more, unless you're playing maybe in Seattle or Kansas City or some of these places. But it does, you know, does not allow those guys to get that jump off the ball, and that's been, you know, it's been a part of what we've done for a long time.
Are explosive plays getting harder to come by? One, the way you've seen a lot of two safeties, and the other is your field stretcher is on the sidelines right now.
Yeah, we had 9 last week, and we had 7 in the passing game and 2 in the run game. And you know, I don't know how you guys chart those, but ours are 12 for a run and 16 for a pass. And we had, I think, 5 different guys catch a pass of 16 yards or more. Tom was on that stat. Thank you, Tom. So we've found a way to do it, but when teams are going to play a lot softer, it's a lot more catch and run. So there's a premium on ball on the correct shoulder and in stride, so those guys can do some after the catch.
Aaron, when we talked to you at the start of training camp, you said that guys, free agents or other guys, come here to play with you and come here to compete for championships. With the rumors and everything that kind of swirled today with free agency and everything like that, and the start this team has had and winning the last 3, does that kind of reinforce that guys want to come here and compete for a championship?
Yeah, I mean, at the beginning of the season, there's 32 teams that believe they can win a championship. But in actuality, there's a much smaller number of that actually has a team to do it. Now, there's always teams that show up that you maybe didn't expect to have great starts starting the year out, but it all kind of levels out at some point mid-season. And if there's veteran players who aren't getting the type of run that they expect to get or want to get, those guys usually want to go to winners. You know, they go to teams that know can win a championship. And a lot of times that starts with the quarterback. You know, guys want to play with, you know, with Tom, with Pat, with myself, Dak, Russ, some of these guys who, you know, have had a lot of success in the league and have good teams around them.
How do you feel you guys are doing now at 3-1? You know, rewatching the game, man, there's a lot of bigger hits that I saw, you know, in real time. So, but you got that energy start these last couple of games. How do you think you're going into this next quarter?
This is an important stretch for us because the game times switch. So we go into this noon Central run for, I believe, 3 in a row here, which will be really important. Those games are just different. They're different energy type games. You have to kind of get up early and get going. And, you know, we played well in our primetime games and played well in the afternoon slot, but this is a different type of preparation. So, you know, it's a slightly different focus when you're playing at the earlier times, and so it'll be good for us to feel what that feels like, and then to go out and play the way we want to play in these early time slots.
Aaron, I know that you kind of.
Jair doesn't have to undergo surgery, but with a guy like that, you've practiced against Jair for so long. What does he bring to your defense, and what type of skill set would you be missing if you have to go along like that?
Yeah, it's not just his energy; it's his ball skills and the way he plays. You know, he plays with a lot of confidence, good tackler, obviously a great cover guy, good hands. So, you know, if he's not able to go for a while, obviously, you know, we need Kev to step up and play as well as he's capable of playing. Obviously, Eric has had a nice job for us. You know, but the defense definitely has a lot more confidence, I'd say, after week 4 than maybe the first couple weeks, and so do we on offense. So I like the way we're trending. this is a good matchup for us. You know, a good football team at their place. We've had to play without Z, without Dave, without Elton. So we just got to find a way.
Aaron, I know that you've relished the relationship you've got with Matt and proving people wrong with that. Why do you think you guys hit it off so well, and what did that look like in building the relationship to this point?
I think just about how any good relationship gets formed is communication, and it started, you know, with the blending of the two systems, what I've done well in my career and what he brings to the table, and have an open dialogue where it's not either one of us set in our ways. It has to be a certain way. It's allowing for the evidence to be laid out on why certain things are the way that they are. You know, I think anytime you're in a situation where it's coach player, if one side or the other just wants to do things a certain way because they've always done things a certain way, it breeds strife. And I think I can speak for myself and really for him, that never happened with us. There was the whys were always answered. Why are we doing this? Why does it make sense? How is it going to affect our football team positively moving forward? We've talked a lot about how between the first and second seasons, the Zoom stuff that we did was really beneficial for our offense and for our relationship, I think. But it started with good communication, the respect and the trust grew from there, and it just continues to trend in the right direction.
I hate to put you on the spot, but I asked you before the season about just how he's changed, and you said that he comes up with really good presentations each week, and they're not cliche ridden, and they're inventive and creative. I'm curious if one of those happened to just stick out to you as particularly effective.
Well, you know, I think that's a little blending of a couple things that I said, I believe. The presentations are given by all coaches. So Steno has one, Buckus has one, Nate has multiple, Vrabel does some 2-minute stuff, Getsy does third down. So everybody, I think that's a beautiful thing that he allows for, is the coaches all have responsibilities during the week. J.O. has one tomorrow that we all look forward to. That's really important, the delegation process of it. I think for Matt, his creativity sticks out because of the type of grinder that he is. He's always looking for those special plays that can make a difference in a game, really, at any time they get dialed up. So it's the creativity that I most appreciate from him, and really from the entire staff that puts the plan together. They kind of shoot really big and wide and cast this big net of ideas, and then we whittle them down on Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday. But Matt's a big part of all those creative ideas and conversations.
Yeah, what did you think of just the start that Billy's been off to, and how important has he been, you know, a pretty young line, you know, having him out there at right tackle?
Yeah, Billy's played really well. We had a little roundtable discussion weeks ago with the young guys that we did in the past, and I asked Gray if we could do it again. So we a bunch of the vets kind of set. It was, you know, semicircle, half circle. We're on one side, the rooks on the other side, and we just did a dialogue about what it means to be a pro. And when I had the opportunity during that conversation, I highlighted the way that Billy goes about his business. And you guys probably wouldn't see this a whole lot, but he does the same thing just about every day. Every day he works on his pass sets and after his workouts. And then every day before practice, he works on his pass sets and his punch. And this is a guy who's played a lot of football. He's been in the league for a while. But his consistency at his craft is every single day. And I think the best players do those things, you know, things that I work on every single day in pre-practice, in individual drills, the way Devontae works his footwork every day, and that he's modeled that to guys like MVS and Allen, the way Randall, you know, catches jugs before every single practice and goes about his release patterns. Watching Billy Turner has been really inspiring, I think, for some of the other guys. So he's doing this every single day before practice and training camp, and the next thing you know, Elton's doing it too. And I think that's the mark of any great pro, is you kind of set the standard with your work ethic and allow for other guys to come along if they're ready. Big Dog has done the same thing, the way that he prepares and practices. And then the guys that get it, you know, the Eltons, the Robert Tunyons, they start going alongside those guys and do the same thing that they're doing.
So what are some of the things you do every day?
Some of those are trade secrets. but I like to pick one thing to work on every single practice. So it might be throwing every ball in pre-practice or drill work without the laces. That's one little thing that I don't think is too big of a competitive advantage, but in game situations, you won't always get the laces. You know, if you got to get the ball out quickly. So learning what each pass feels like without the laces and how to throw an accurate spiral ball is one thing I'll do from time to time. That's just one thing.
Before you came in here, I was looking for a Jalen Smith photo, and I saw one of you and him embracing after the game down there a couple years ago. Do you guys know each other at all? Well, what do you think he might add to you guys?
Yeah, I don't. I like him as a person. I think he's a super friendly, happy guy, even on the field. He's a fierce competitor, but he always has a smile on his face. So I appreciate that about him, and it was just more of a respectful competitor conversation after the game. I haven't heard if anything's been done yet, but in general, I think anytime you add a veteran player to a team, there's the possibility of a guy getting an opportunity and who's played football before at a high level, and sometimes it just takes an environment switch for some of those guys to play the best football.
Hey Aaron, what stands out to you about the Cincinnati defense, and is there an added challenge with having AFC uncommon opponents back-to-back weeks in terms of getting ready for these?
Yeah, there always is. It's always a little different playing a team once every 4 years, but yeah, I mean it's name-wise, it's obviously way different than we played them even 4 years ago. I don't know if there's anybody in the the first 22 that maybe was there during that time. There might be a couple guys. But, I mean, they went out, they spent some money. They brought in some free agents, guys that we know we played against, like Hendrickson and Awuzie and Trey, obviously. So they're a talented team. I think the difference is, they're 3-1. So they're obviously playing with a lot more confidence and believing that they can and should be winning games. They obviously have a first pick quarterback and some stud guys on that side of the ball. They've been scoring some points, so we're going to have to match whatever they put up.
In the recent weeks, I've seen some interviews with guys that work with Matt along the way, and a word came up that I had not heard before in a couple of years we've been covering us, recall. The guy's got great recall. When I heard that, I thought, man, that's something I know Aaron Rodgers would appreciate. Does he? Can he match you with that?
No, nobody can match me with that. No. He's got good recall, though. Can't match me, though.
This morning, the whole buzz was Stephon Gilmore as someone who's spoken out about veteran stuff. Do you allow yourself to get excited when a big name guy gets linked to you guys, or have you just heard it so many times that it just kind of in one ear and out the other?
I temper my expectations most of the time. So it's usually a wait and see. I don't get too excited about those things until they happen.